Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. This is a slip joint, and this is the Real Steel Luna in yellow G10 and D2 steel. It is a very interesting knife in an interesting part of the segment of the market. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons real quick on this. Here is the GEC oil, what's called the oil jack. Right, that's the oil jack. Here is a Swiss Army, I believe this is the Farmer X. Let's see. There you go. Here is a Benchmade Reptilian and a Benchmade Bug Out. As you can see, it's actually a pretty small knife. Here is the 945, Benchmade 945, which is the mini 940. It's basically the same size as that. And here is the full-size 940. Last size comparison, I'll do some Paramilitary 2 and Para 3 from Spyderco. Okay, so what is Real Steel? Real Steel is one of the newer but probably more underappreciated Chinese makers on the market. They have actually some really nice things they've been putting out, but they sort of don't get as much love as a lot of the other brands. So I was really psyched to pick this up. I actually got this off of one of Love Them Knives sales. He has a great channel. Go check him out. And he does some great sales too. And I went ahead and picked this up at the sale. This did come in used, but actually in pretty much like new condition. And one of the things I noticed right off the bat is how slicey this blade is. It is sharp. I cut myself on this thing, and it is extremely sharp. Look how thin this thing it gets behind the edge. You like to see that in slip joints, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at the thickness of this against, let's say, a Para 3. So here's a Para 3, and the stock thickness is night and day, right? This thing is very slicey. So I'm very psyched to see that on sort of a modernish slip joint. I have the Benchmade proper as well. I don't have it with me at the moment, but this is definitely a lot slicier than the Benchmade proper. Even though I tend to carry the proper more with me, that's something that I really like about that, is how slicey this thing is. And the blade shape itself is a really good blade shape. It's a regular drop point blade with a decent amount of flat and a really good amount of belly, and you can get those nice long cuts with it, which is quite nice. This does have sort of a long pull right here, which I love. I love this. I don't like nail nicks. This drives me nuts on this GEC. It's hard for me to get my nails in these things and actually do that. So I definitely appreciate this type of modern take where, look, I don't need a nail. I can just grab it, right, and pull it out, and it's fantastic that way. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate the pocket clip on here. A lot of slip joints don't come with a pocket clip, so the fact that this is a modern slip joint, this actually carries very well in the pocket, carries fully deep carry. At this price point, getting flush screws and flush or recessed clip into the liners is really a great touch. I mean, it is something you don't see by a lot of companies. Even Civivi, doesn't always do it. Here's the Civivi Bull Mastiff, not recessed into the liners, right? And let's see, here's the Civivi Brazen, right? Not recessed into the liners. But Real Steel did a great job recessing that into the liners with recessed screws and everything. Just an amazing touch at this price point. Next great thing about this is the materials, G10 and D2 steel. Now D2 is not my favorite budget steel, but it's a great budget steel in the slip joint world because, you know, a lot of times slip joints you're getting 1095 or you're getting 420 HC or something like that, right? So getting D2 I actually think is a nice touch on here, and the price point on here is awesome. It's $31.50. You can get this right now for $31.50. This thing is a ridiculous value at that price point. And they also make this in different materials. I know that changes the price a little bit. I think they have micartas and, you know, other materials as well. But that price point is ridiculous, $31. I do like the fact that the lanyard hole on here is out of the way. That definitely is a plus for me because I don't use lanyards. And so that, you know, if you're going to have a lanyard hole, I prefer it to be out of the way. I think the pivot on here is nice and simple, and you know, that makes me happy. I like the fact that this is not pin construction. So the pin construction right here, as you can see, you can't take this apart, right? If there's a problem with it, you're not taking it apart, or at least not with regular tools, right? You could knock the pins out and you'll have to repin it and everything, but I don't have the setup for that, and most people don't have the setup for that. This is so it's nice to see you have screws here. I believe these are T6 screws. They might be T5. Let's just double check. These are T6. So I don't necessarily love T6, but on a knife this size, it's hard to help T6 because T8s are going to be a little bit bigger, and then they're going to sort of dominate the aesthetic. So I don't blame them too much for that. But that is a negative here, is the T6. Another negative on this thing is going to be, I don't like when you have that sort of area that's exposed on the end of the blade. You know, you get that on a lot of slip joints, so I can't fault them too much for that. But in general, I like on knives when you don't have that, right? So see how it's continuous, and then that part of the blade is hidden by the handle. So I like when you do that. This can get caught on stuff, but on slip joints, it's hard to help it. So I get it. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to complain about. It's a little smooth here. I guess the other thing I could complain about is instead of a half stop, they do like a 1/3 stop. I really don't know why you do a 1/3 stop. I guess the reason you're doing a 1/3 stop, if I had to guess, is as thin and slicey as this blade is, they don't want it coming up right here where it might cut you. Yeah, I guess, you know, I didn't like the 1/3 stop, but I guess with the amount of handle room, it makes sense. I'm sort of figuring out that now. So here, yeah, my hand's far enough back where it's not a problem for a half stop. And here, yeah, your hand's not going to be far enough back because of the handle size. So actually, I take that back. That's not a negative. That's just good design. Yeah, I mean, another reason to be impressed by this knife. Overall, this is a huge recommend for me. If you're in the market for a slip joint and you like slip joints, this is a huge recommend for me. Absolutely love this knife. I'm actually donating this to Monster Racing, who's been a long-time supporter of the channel. He just mentioned that he liked it. He wanted to buy it off me. Told him to go ahead and take it. You know, I just appreciate the support, and I appreciate the fact that you've been, you know, with me this long. So I appreciate you, and just enjoy this knife. I'm going to send it out to you very shortly. Thanks so much.